Okay, got to make sure this is on widescreen. Otherwise, I won't be able to get my pistola in here. Or the mess. I had to go out and get some more nails out of the barn. Mom's stored in there forever, which wasn't supposed to be there. But anyway, in the middle of a full remodel, and this is just a quick video here. I'll be uploading this to the YouTube channel, as we are not allowed to show any of the gun intricacies or functioning or any of that stuff on YouTube without getting channel strikes. This is going to be the video that I will be uploading to the new Rumble channel, and I will also be posting it on the Patreon, even though I know most of y'all hate Patreon, but that's what I've got right now, so we're trying to get the channel back up and running. Anyway, this is going to be a full video. It's basically about the 3-position trigger system, not particularly about the Walther P99 pistol itself, but since that's the pistol I have with the 3-position trigger system, that's what I'll be using. And again, I apologize, my throat's still on the mend. Still having some problems with where my neck's broken and all that, so apologize for any of my speech or anything like that. And again, I just came out to sit down and have a quick drink and take a break for a minute from the work, and apologize for the traffic and all that. So basically, anyway, again, this is just a teaser video leading up to what we will be posting on the Rumble and on the Patreon for the 3-position trigger system. And before, a lot of people have been asking me about the trigger systems, what's called the AS trigger system, or anti-stress, in the Walther pistols. But again, today, I think this video was posted about 8 months ago, where it shows this all-new, modern, 3-position trigger system on this brand new pistol. Well, this is my Walther P99, and as you can see, this is number 310 of 2000. This is the Y2K commemorative. Sorry for the lighting, and of course my phone probably won't focus, but anyway, this is the Y2K commemorative. So this particular gun was made in 1999. And as you can see, well, I guess I should turn it that way. This is in 40 Smith & Wesson. So what they did with the Y2Ks is, out of the 2,000 commemoratives made, there were 1,500 made in 9mm, and there was 500 made in 40. I have one of the 500 ever made, so even though it says one of 2,000, technically this is a one of 500, but there was 2,000 in the series total. So anyway, again, sorry for the lagginess and all that. Again, this is just a teaser vid, nothing technical or anything like that. But this is Saturday. Again, apologize for the traffic. This is Saturday afternoon. So when this uploads to the YouTube channel, just putting out that this video is out there and available. By the time I get the full video uploaded, might be uploaded by tomorrow. Unfortunately, it takes me a long time. I basically just have to set the upload and leave it overnight, because it takes that long for the videos to upload through the Wi-Fi, through everything else. And then hopefully it will be posted tomorrow if I'm lucky. I will be posting some more of the reloading videos. I do have a couple of those finished that I just have to get around to uploading when time prevails. So I am working on your reloading videos too. Since again, I can show reloading videos on Rumble, but I can't show any of it on YouTube. So those are forthcoming. So just a quick one-off on this. Before I get technically talking here, I have to have another little sip of my Gatorade and cough syrup. Otherwise I won't be able to speak. So this particular gun, and I'm just going to hold her like this. No, I'm not worried about dropping her. So anyway, as you can see with the trigger guard, remember this gun was made in 1999. That's when we used to actually offhand, we would wrap that finger around the front of the trigger guard with our offhand. Can't really show it like this. I just push my finger outside the trigger guard. However, anyway, we have the large oversized trigger guard with square front. And now we have a cat fight. Again, apologies. So anyway, they did change this on the later models, but this is an original Gen 1 P99 Walther. I have the German proof marks, and also, if I can get the light to cooperate here and my thing to focus, made in Germany. This entire pistol was made in Germany and imported. The SW99 that I got to replace this, I had bought this at a good price, and so this was going to be my carry pistol, and then I had one of those epiphanies. I thought, well, maybe I don't need to be carrying a $1,500, which is what they were worth at that time, 20 some odd years ago. I probably shouldn't be carrying that for a daily carry piece. So about a week after I had gotten this, a gentleman had come up, and I had found a listing for one of these Smith & Wesson SW99s. Now, the Smith & Wesson SW99, the frame is made by Walther in Germany. However, the upper was made by Smith & Wesson and assembled in the U.S. Now, the difference is, excuse me again, the frames were different for the SW99s, even though they were made in the Walther factory. The front of the trigger guard, again, I'm having to hold the phone with one hand. That's the reason I'm handling this thing like this. The trigger guard was rounded instead of squared. The slide, instead of being a step side. Now, I'm going to turn this camera so nobody get on to me for, pointing the gun at my face, because my head is nowhere near it. This is all done with camera angles. But those of you who watched the original Underworld, if you notice Celine's pistols, she was carrying a brace of Walther P99s. As you can see, we have the trapezoidal slide. The Smith & Wesson slide was rounded over on top. It did not have the slab side. It was rounded up. So there's a little difference there. And there was a little difference in the frame, especially in the trigger guard. Everything else stayed pretty much the same, but it did have a different frame, and also the frame was slightly wider in the trigger guard. And as you can see, I've been carrying this one. Those of you know that when I got my neck broke, I generally carry a 6.5 inch 629 Classic Smith & Wesson 44. I wasn't able to actually hold the gun up or out when I first broke my neck. So I thought, well, this thing's been in the safe for so long, I just decided I'm going to take it out and carry it, which I've done. Anyway, another thing, just quick couple differences here, and then we will do the full video tonight. But the trigger guard is slightly narrower in the Walther. So the Fabus holsters, which was about the only holster you could get for these at the time, the Fabus holsters, you actually had to basically take a heat gun, and there comes another one. You had to take a heat gun and heat up the holster to where you could fit the Smith & Wesson into the Walther holster. So that was another difference. They are two separate guns. Basically, functionally, they're the same. My SW99, I paid $25 more for it than what I paid for this Walther. Again, I won't get into the details on how I ended up with the Walther. I got a good deal on the Smith. I'll just tell you, I paid $375 for this Walther, even though it was worth $1,500 at the time I bought it. Nothing hot, nothing, it's just somebody had it that didn't need it and wanted to get rid of it. And I said, that's all the cash I got. And his girlfriend said sold. So I paid $375 for the Walther. I ended up with, well, he was asking $400 for the SW99. I actually traded a Charter Arms undercover, all stainless, that I had bought for the girlfriend at the time. And she wanted a semi-auto, so I got her the Ruger SR22 when they first came out with the SR22s, and she had given me the Charter back, so I traded the Charter in. I don't know, I think $100 boot, because he did have 2 extra mags with it. So anyway, we'll just call it $400 in the SW99. Story being is, over the course of time that I had the SW99, I put almost, it was just shy of 10,500 rounds through that gun, which is, in my opinion, a lot for a polymer frame gun. But I had put 10,500 rounds through that gun, was still daily carrying the gun. Another friend of mine, elderly lady, when I say elderly, I think she was probably 65, 66 at that time, had decided she wanted my my Smith. And I said, well, it's not really for sale. She reaches in her pocketbook, pulls out her checkbook, says, what do you want for it? I said, well, you're not going to want to pay what I want for it. She said, what do you want for it? I said, $600. Just, at that time, you can still buy a Glock for like $350, $375. So you asked me a check for $600, and that was pretty much all she wrote. So not only did I carry the gun for several years, I put 10,500 rounds through the gun, still just as solid as it could be, and I made $200 off of it. So neither here nor there on the video. But I have taken to carrying the Walther again, nostalgia's sake. And I know these days a lot of people hate 40s. I will be doing another video on the whole entire 9mm versus 40 versus 45 actual ballistics, given actual numbers. Here's the numbers for this round, here's the number for that loading. Which is better? Well, you can make up your mind. I'm just going to give you the numbers. But me personally, I have taken several deer with a 40 cal. All one-shot straight drops. So, I'm not going to try that with a 9mm. Anyway, the whole purpose of the video, and which I will show you here in just a moment. And now we got the airplanes and helicopters coming over. Again, I apologize for the background noise, but I'm just sitting on the porch, and this was a impromptu video. I'll let him get over just a little bit. So anyway, to the point, when I started the video, I had cleared and checked the gun. This is an empty magazine. And when I had cleared and checked the gun, and this goes back to the whole premise of the video that we're going to be doing in full later, because I had cleared the gun and had dropped the slide, the striker is cocked, as you can see, and it's a pretty good striker indicator. You can feel it, and you can see it when you look at the back, and again, the other serial number, and And apologies, just started getting a little dark on this porch here, but it's also serial numbered on the back. So this is actually serial numbered in 3 separate places. It's serial numbered on the barrel, it's serial numbered on the frame, and it's serial numbered on the back of the slide. Anyway, you can see the striker as it pokes out there with that, bright red dot. Camera's not really picking it up, but the striker is cocked. But as you see, the trigger is still in the fully forward position. So now what that is, this is safe to carry with the striker cocked, just like a Glock. It does have internal safeties. We'll get into those later. But it is totally safe to carry with the striker cocked with the trigger forward. Now what happens is when you have the striker cocked, when you squeeze this trigger, and I'm talking this is just a minuscule amount of pressure, that puts the trigger into single action mode. So now this is in single action because this is a double action to single action pull. Now from there, now it does have a little bit long trigger pull, but it's not creepy, it's smooth, it's very light. But now once I fire it, see, I can do that with this gun in my hand at a wonky position because that's all the pressure it takes. It's a very light trigger. Well, as you see, the striker ain't there anymore. That is striker down. When I release the trigger, this goes back into double action mode. Now you can carry this again. You can carry it with a striker down, trigger forward, and just like carrying a Beretta 92, the trigger is in double action mode. That is another thing that I do think is better about this system because, unlike a Glock where you get one trigger pull and lots of traffic, there is no second strike capability. Once you drop that sear, you have to rack the slide again to recock the sear. Well, this, because it goes back into double action mode, I simply double action pull my trigger. And just to note here, I can see when I'm looking through the camera, I don't know if it's going to show in the video, but when I pull, I can see a delay in the video. So again, apologize for that. I have to do these on a very low video quality setting for them to get up. But anyway, second strike capability. I can sit there all day long and you'll see as I pull the trigger, striker comes back. So anyway, now this is of course safe to carry with a round in the chamber and in double action mode, just like any other double action single action. So when you come out, and it's a very nice double action pull, very nice, I will say that. You can sit there all day long. Okay, back to the 3 position. Well, you've already seen with the trigger forward. I won't try to do this again, I have to hold the phone, but this is all it takes to reset the striker. That far is all I had to move the slide. It is safe to do this with a round in the chamber. Now what happened by me simply moving the slide 3/16 of an inch, my striker is now again cocked. My trigger is still in the forward position. That is again safe to carry. However, now that the striker is cocked, even though the trigger is in the forward position, it can be set into single action mode. And therefore, very, very light, easy trip, simply by racking the slide. And I'll try to get this on camera. And again, no, I'm not doing a John Wick press check. It's just all I can do with holding the phone. That far. Striker is again cocked. Now, let's say you have a round in the chamber. You don't want to carry it with a striker cocked, but you want it round in the chamber on double action mode. Well, obviously you can't just pull the trigger to drop the striker. This is your decocker. You simply push down on the decocker. That safely drops the striker and puts it back into double action first shot mode. And until that slide racks, you're going to stay in double action. So I think I've kind of just covered most of what I was going to cover in the other video as far as the actual way the trigger works. But again, this gun can be carried, well, safely carried 2 of 3 ways. We do not recommend carrying it with the trigger to the rear, with the striker cocked in single action. It can be carried, again, decock it, tap box my trigger all the way to the front. It can be carried double action to subsequent shots single action. It can be carried striker fired with trigger forward to into a quick single action, and then all your subsequent shots after that will be trigger rearward in the single action mode. Beautiful trigger on this thing. Anyway, that's the the AS system on the Walther. And yes, this does have, a lot of y'all call this the HK, where the mag release is a paddle access from each side of the trigger. Now, the reason I like this, I do not do the, twist the gun in my hand to use my thumb to, what I simply do if I want to drop the mag, if I've got this out, I simply bring my finger back, lay it on the paddle, push the paddle, mag drops completely free, which I'll try to show just a little, but I simply bring it back, drop my mag. You can do this if you want, but this, I can be in a full shooting stance if I'm doing a rapid change where I still have one in the chamber and this does not have a mag disconnect safety. If I'm in the middle of a mag change, I've still got one in the pipe. So I simply come back, try to get it on a little better, but thumb, finger comes off the trigger, back, drops the mag. I never have to change the position of the gun in my hand. I never have to bring my hand back in. I can do the look up, drop mag, or I can just stay on target, drop mag, and freeload it. So that's why I like these paddle style mag releases. Again, personal preference. Real quick, I'll throw in there with my Beretta 92, because I am right-handed, although I do shoot ambidextrous. I am right-handed, so when I had my Beretta 92, which I got when I think I was 16, I would change the mag release, especially on a Beretta with that larger grip. I would change it to a, what y'all would call left-handed. That way I could simply pull my finger back, trip the button, drop the mag, and never had to change position of the gun in my hand. My buddy, who's a southpaw, his was set up, mag release on the left. He said, well, dude, I need to get you to change my mag release over, because I'm left-handed. I showed him and I said, no, dude. I said, bring your finger back, hit the button. He's like, oh, dude, that works beautiful. I said, yeah. So, but this, I can trip from either side however I want to. But again, I love the paddle. This was the first gun that I ever encountered that had that. So, just something else to be thinking about on that. But anyway, that was just a quick one-off on the anti-stress trigger system. That's why they call it the anti-stress. You can carry it just like a Glock with a striker fired safely, with the trigger into easy access to go straight to. In other words, it's just, we're talking about ounces, not even ounces. I mean, it's just a couple ounces that it takes to get that trigger back to the single action position with the striker fired. Or you can carry it with full double action if you want that first. I have to make sure that my target's going to be fired upon, stress situation. Won't get into me and my stress situations at this time. I don't have that, so I generally carry it striker cocked, trigger forward. But that just shows you the differences of carry or of shooting in the 3-position trigger. And the dude that's got the video up of, I don't know, look something like a staccato maybe. It was some type of 9mm knockoff pistol, and like I said, I think the video hit about 8 months ago. But oh, brand new modern technology. This gun was made in '99, and it has it, and it's not even one of the earlier production guns. They all had it. So this is not some new modern technology. This has been around for at least a quarter of a century. So anyway, I'll slap this one up, and when I get the other actual full review where I've actually got the camera mounted and I'm actually doing it on the bench, I'll get that uploaded for you. But I just wanted to get this in. Originally I said I was just going to do a quick teaser. Well, unfortunately it just went into 26 minutes and 7 seconds. So much for the quick teaser. But that's the Walther P99 with the anti-stress AS 3-position trigger system.